and I want to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street. It seems like the right time of the year, right? Everyone's talking about horror movies and Halloween, and I've done a lot of these reviews and that kind of thing, and definitely want to credit a lot of other creators who've been focusing on these films, especially Matt, a common idiot, who I'm a big supporter of, big fan of, and he commented and did a video on the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, talking about how it is his favorite. It is, maybe even folks might be making the claim it's the best one. So anyway, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the franchise as a whole. And I really didn't go back and rewatch after the third one. And I know there's like a, new Nightmare. And then of course there's like the reboot. And, even though I've seen many of these over the years, they're not things that I revisit. And I don't usually even revisit most of these things in the horror genre. It's not something I engage in as often, but this year I did. And I have a super soft spot for the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Seeing it, I was in middle school and remember being at a party and we were watching this. And of course it was, obviously that's the debut of Johnny Depp. Right. And the death scene, of course, with the volcano of blood coming up to the ceiling was just like, what on earth is happening? Right. So, but no, I want to talk about the three films. I think all three films kind of have like their, appeal and issues and place. Right. So the first film, of course, is the iconic one, right? The creation of Freddy, the creation of this universe. Wes Craven is the boogeyman that's in your dreams. Like, how would you fight a boogeyman that's in your dreams? And of course, there's these incredible sequences on a very low budget, by the way. Like, I mean, it was made for like a little over $1 million, I think. Made a ton of money. And I will admit that it was really a very surreal film. It was so different because we'd already kind of gone through the early phase of, with Mike Myers' Halloween, and you had Freddy coming on the scene now, and he's different than Jason, right? It's completely different, and definitely something that garnered an audience for all the right reasons, right? And I think that the film constantly keeps you off balance of, they switch, because early in the film, of course, the nightmare centers around Tina. And we think Tina may be the main character, right? Because everyone's surrounding her. They're trying to support her, of course. And then, of course, this is where the scream cliches come from, right? Because she sleeps with the one character, Rod. And next thing you know, she's the one that gets killed. Whereas Nancy, pushes Glenn away and she survives. This is where some of those scream elements also play out in Wes Craven's universe. I will say, though, it is in this film where you really start to get just really cool set pieces on a low budget, right? Nancy lures Freddy into the basement, right? And sets him on fire, right? And you have this sort of, cheesy death scene in some ways, but also the fact that Freddy is, powered by all of this fear in the souls that he's getting and that kind of thing. So anyway, even when you think it's over and Freddy has been vanquished, there's a quick shot with, mom's alive and, she's going to stop drinking now, whatever. And of course, nope, that's not how it works, right? The car is a Freddy car that gets him and that kind of thing. Like everyone's alive and well, but no, not really. And Fred grabs mom. So, the execution is just fantastic in this film. And the studio, basically, it's all about the money, right? It's all about rush, right? So that's why the next movie comes out so fast, because they were like, how to get this through? And Wes Craven had pushed back on what he wanted to accomplish, what he wanted to do. And they came up with this, embracing this basically Freddy possession story. So Nightmare 2, Freddys Revenge is, centers around Mark Patton. He plays Jesse. And it starts with the runaway bus, and it ends with a runaway bus, right? He basically is that outcast guy with issues and problems, never quite finding his way. He's in Nancy's old house, so finding the diary and some of these things have come out. And I know there's a lot of these like homoerotic comments and accusations about the film, especially because of the coach. And there's a quick little shot in a gay bar. But for me, it was like when they know they're in a murder house and you have the scene where, Jesse's confronting the dad about like, why did we buy this murder house? Right. And the toaster overheats, and stuff like that. I'm like, as I rewatched this, I kept thinking about like Amityville Horror and other things, which is more like this. It's a different type of supernatural approach. And it doesn't fit with Freddy. Like the film itself is just different. Like it doesn't quite work. And I can see it doesn't have Wes Craven's fingerprints on it in the same way. However, the film did well. The film made money, and you get some issues with like Freddy coming into our world, like the pool scene, the attack on the pool scene doesn't work. And I think I got to be honest, it proves Wes Craven's right, because he says it's not going to work. Like Robert Englund is not even a big dude. He's like, pretty much average sized guy with a smaller physique. This isn't going to work. Part of it is the mystery and the surrealness of it all. Once you put him into our world, you lose a lot of that kind of stuff, right? But at the end of the film, when you have those boiler scene rooms, and Lisa burns her hand, and you it's very disconjointed. It doesn't fit. Like you feel like the rules are not the same as the first film. It's not even consistent in this film. And it's a full on like possession story. I don't know. I like the ending. But I can see why its legacy is not held in as well regard. Right. I mean, there's moments that kind of work, which, by the way, there are also things that don't work. Like the creators are completely different, right? They make use a Bing Crosby song at the end instead of the Benny Goodman song, which they joke about at least once or twice. Like they weren't always good at callbacks, folks. They just weren't. Well, of course, the movie exceeded everyone's expectations, and then they do Nightmare 3 and Dream Warriors. And it was funny because when everybody did these videos, I kept thinking, well, yeah, Dream Warriors is the best one. But I thought to myself, I haven't watched them in so long. I haven't been able to sort of recalibrate that, to really revisit that. Now, admittedly, it is a freaking amazing film that, first off, we get Nancy back, right? Heather Langenkamp comes back. She plays Nancy. We get Patricia Arquette's first film. So you have some female leads that really do carry. And then what we get in this, in addition to creating the concept of battling Freddy in the dream world, and you created this mental hospital of all these people who've been exposed to Freddy for different reasons. Now, the film does suffer from kind of like a back and forth on what it wants to do, because it makes these comments about, you're like, basically it's like they're the last of the Elm Street kids, but they don't really go anywhere. Like they kind of stop short of kind of like cleaning all this up and making it good for us. But the death scenes, the Freddy lines, these moments, like the TV scene with the girl that's obsessed with being a TV. And then of course, Freddy's like, welcome to prime time, that kind of stuff. It works great. It's also very like erotic. Like you have like the super hot nurse scene, which obviously guys are going to Google over and talk about. And then of course you have this like origin story of Freddy, which is a little bit different, or at least an elaboration, right? You have Wes trying to expand the mythos by saying, well, no, he's not just murdered by this group of parents who are outraged and fought back against the system that, this guy was killing kids or whatever. Like, no, he's the bastard offspring of like 100 crazed mental lunatics who raped this nun. And you have like the nun talking to Norton, things like that. It doesn't always work, but I will say, like, the way the claw comes up in the, you have the bathroom sequences, you have the way it comes in the walls, you have, the music and stuff works with just crazy moments, right? And basically you have Kirsten in this horror house at the end, and it's freaking great. And then of course you have the way he does the drug attack, right? Let's get high. And the wizard, oh my gosh, the wizard part, it's funny with that chair, right? The crazy wheelchair scene. Oh, it's good stuff. So, but the idea like, we have to just get these bones out of this Cadillac and just bury them, and it makes it so it is still a lot of, I think one of the things, it's definitely a lot more fun, right? It definitely is something that has held up well as being something you can really enjoy, where you have to be in the right kind of mindset to sit through the first one, because it's so much more like, the mysterious slow pace elements of a horror film from that era compared to the third one, which has a lot more action and some comedy and things like that. So it seems like that's the better fit for it. So, but for me, I can enjoy 1 and 3 as they are. I don't really want to hold them up against one another exactly because they're almost different. Whereas one's like the classic slasher kind of thing, where the other one adds the action and trying to expand stuff like that. And you're talking about a lot more money and a lot more technology in just 6 years or so. So anyway, that was my thoughts on it. I didn't know what you guys were thinking. I want to kind of like put something on video to kind of have out there as my thoughts as we move forward. Because I definitely enjoyed revisiting them, and I don't know when I'll watch them again. But I did enjoy watching the film, even the second one, which I didn't enjoy nearly as much. I did enjoy at least having a fresh look at it and kind of having a perspective on it. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I appreciate your time, and I'm Pops.